Ancient Sacred Structures in the Fall of Atlantis, Part 1 of 9, Ancient Egypt and Hypita. My children, today is my desire to reveal to the world something of great interest. The subject is Egypt, of which I will give you unrecorded history, the great land which historians write upon hypothetically. You people of Earth do not know the truths of Egypt, where lie the pyramids and the Sphinx. The Sphinx. The Sphinx is an object which is very well known. Mankind is ignorant of its true history. The beginnings of the Sphinx go back before the First Dynasty of the Pharaohs of Egypt, a dynasty unknown to mortals. The period following the sinking of Lemana, known today as Atlantis. The Sphinx was the Hypitian conception of what Mikaal is to you today. I have heard it said that my picture is like the Sphinx, and perhaps this is so. I will reveal something to you, my children, hitherto unknown to mortals. The Sphinx guards the remains of my temple of Alonia, known now as Giza, the temple of Drunia, now called Egypt. The capital in the Yanihian period, the first race of the Earth planet. Well below the sands of the desert is a group of buildings of Yanini. Very little of the temple remains and naught of the inner temple. There is, however, a portion of the great central hall of worship. The circular audience chamber is almost intact without a roof. It was in the audience chamber that the lesser adepts of Yanini conversed with us, and with visiting lesser adepts who came from the other countries of my 11 brothers in Yanini, as this earth was once named. The tombs which your explorers find today are almost intact due to the preserving quality of the sands of Egypt. I have told you in my book, The Winds of Truth, that there were 12 chairs of the adepts. These chairs, saturated with the cosmic rays of God, remain intact to this day. There stands, too, a portion of the House of the Initiates, where there dwelled certain groups of initiates ready to pass, after segregation, to the higher degrees. The great dormitory is also there, and a portion of the great room of the breaths, used for the early dawn and the evening glow adoration of the Godhead. A period when the initiate was immersed in the full solar rays, indrawing by deep breathing the solar essences. The subterranean stream which flowed beneath the temple buildings Yanini is still in existence, and now finds its outlet near the delta of the Nile. Only through spirit contact can these great historical truths come to light. How else could they be known? Hypotheses of fabrication. The Hypitian Egyptian lands are teeming with history. The home of some of the great temples of Yanini, unknown items in the pyramids, ancient scripts of papyri and drawings lie hidden in the foundations of the pyramids. Manuscripts penned by the hand of the beloved master are there, written by him when he went to Egypt, the only words he ever penned, describing the rites of the initiations of Yanini. You must realize that the great pyramids are situated as an iceberg rests in the water. Less than 1/3 of its bulk shows above the line of vision. In fact, the most interesting part of the pyramids lies beneath the sands. Lamana. I passed today to a completely different subject, to Lamana. After the total destruction of Yanini, already described in the Yanihian script, there survived from that cataclysm but a handful of the Yanihian peoples. Few portions remained of Yanini, but these few form the basis of the continent known to you as Atlantis. After a period of about 500 of your years, a new race of souls was projected to the Lemurian continent from the planet which you call Jupiter, its true name being Kolsht. rematerialization of a race sent for the purpose of karmic payment, after no advancement of spirituality. Sent, I repeat, to this Lemanian continent in order that they might have a further chance of advancement, not attained upon the planet Jupiter. These races were the direct forebearers of certain races still in existence on your planet. They settled here under the guidance of the lesser adepts who, having been trained for this purpose in Yanini, took control of the new inhabitants of Earth. The Yanihians who survived destruction joined them and finally intermarried with them. Lamana was one enormous continent, an island set in the mid-Atlantic, after the sinking waters which submerged Yanini, not divided up into groups of lands. Jupiter, at the time of the projection of these races, was largely a subservient to the 13th ray, now the 14th, the Culloden black ray of destruction, and this in turn affected peoples of that planet. Therefore, it was a degenerate population in Lamana, except for the Yanihians. Together with these races came the forebearers of your destructive animals, and two, for the first time, the snake appeared. Thus, in this Lemanian age began the fall of man. Mankind fell slowly to unspeakable depths of degradation. Mechanical inventions appeared for the first time. Men flew in machines. The harvests were gathered in by machinery. Even a type of phone was used for conversation. Men and women cohabited with animals, hence the appearance of that race of semi-animals, the anthropoid races. Sensation-seeking was rampant everywhere. The painters and artists vied with each other in the production of the most foul pictures and mural paintings. Riot, sadism appeared for the first time in the history of man. There were two exceptions among this vile race of beings: the Yanihians and the Jabukas, the direct forebearers of the red-skinned Indian races. They lived apart, loath to behold that which passed around them. Never did either of these sects mix with the animal kingdom, and in due time they were withdrawn to avoid contamination. Thus are the beardless men, these redskins, for man had no growth upon the face until there was an admixture of the human with the animal. The gift of free will was given by eternal beauty to this maddened race to save them from themselves, but they abused it. They ignored the Godhead, of whom they were fully aware. In this age there began a reign of black magic, and the most terrible blasphemies took place. Men and women were born with teeth for the first time, for the purpose of devouring animal meat, a vile proceeding. Their houses were built on stone hewn from solid rock, for Lemurians were a physically powerful race and took upon themselves some of the strengths of the animals. Drunkenness was common, owing to the imbibing of a brew which they made and left to ferment, made, I say, from a despicable source we shall not name here. Thus did the world sink into ruin. The Lemurians lived to a great age, some until they were 700 years of age, but slowly the age grew less, owing to debauchery and bad living. Thus, towards the end of this besmirched race, death took place, often violently, at the age of 60 or 70 years. Your short lives on this planet are owing to many of you being direct descendants of that race. This admixture of the animal evolution with the human evolution, two entirely different evolutions, happened after the Jabukas and the Yanihians had been withdrawn back to spirit. Thus, the Lemanian race, which lasted 2 million years, had to end. It is quite impossible for me to go into further details of the sin and horror of that land. So came the cataclysm which ended Lamana, brought by direct order from the Eternal One. Through the powers of the 12 adepts, I, as a watcher, had to see that it was well and truly carried out. Thus sank beneath the purifying waters the great continent of sin, the land which utterly spoiled the future races of men, that has delayed the earth's progress by 2 million years. But the purity of Yanini will return one day, for which I thank the greatest one with all my being. Sin has darkened your world once, but a new dawn breaks in the Aquarian age. A footnote here. The year 1941 is a momentous one for planet Earth. It sparks the ushering in of the new Silver Age, the second coming of Master Jesus.